Greetings, Boogie fans! Michael here, and over the years, several other Pokemon YouTubers have made videos talking about their own made-up Pokemon evil teams. So because so many of them have done that, and I am also a Pokemon YouTuber, it didn't surprise me very much when one day in my Twitch chat, someone asked me, "Hey Michael, what's your evil Pokemon team?" And that was a question that I couldn't really answer because I didn't have an answer. It was something that I had never considered before. Well, not fully. The only thought I had ever put toward my own personal Pokemon evil team was in this book that I made as a 12-year-old of my fake Pokemon region. If you want to watch a video where I go over all of the 150 fake Pokemon in this book, then you can click in the cards. But I didn't just come up with fake Pokemon, I came up with fake gym leaders, Elite Four, other characters, protagonists, and an evil team. That evil team was Team Arrow, spelled like Arrow in Aeroblast, not Team Arrow from the superhero CW TV show. And there's not much thought put into them. They like the air and flying type Pokemon, clearly my own version of Team Magma and Aqua, and there's even this ripoff of Jesse and James that constantly terrorize the protagonist. Team Arrow's main goal was to take control of the legendary continent-creating Pokemon, Titan, and use it to create a floating landmass in the sky. Think Skyloft from Zelda Skyward Sword, except bigger. And that's it. That's really all I came up with. I haven't given Team Arrow much thought since I was a kid, so when that person asked me what my evil team was, I didn't have an answer. So I made one up on the spot. So my evil team is Team Pixie Dust. They wear a lot of pink, they dress very cutesy, use a lot of really cute fairy types and stuff, but it actually works in their favor since no one really expects them to actually be bad guys. Wait, that's actually a pretty solid idea. The more I thought about it, the more I really liked the idea of Team Pixie Dust and wanted to share it with all of you guys. So that's what this video is. The story and saga of my own personal evil team, Team Pixie Dust. The evil team hiding in plain sight. The story begins with you, the protagonist, arriving in a brand new region. And not long into the start of your journey, members of Team Pixie Dust become extremely prevalent, but only doing nice things. They heal your Pokemon part of the way through a route, they treat sick Pokemon, and they even give out a bunch of free treats to your Pokemon that are really healthy for them, called Pixie Puffs. The people you meet love Team Pixie Dust. They really love the fact that a charitable organization has become so prominent and therefore capable of helping a ton of people in Pokemon. Several people even mention that financial donations to Team Pixie Dust are pretty frequent and often large. However, it's not long before you realize that something isn't right. As you progress through one of the routes, you happen to stumble upon a pair of Team Pixie Dust grunts abusing a Pokemon. It's a small Pokemon that most people wouldn't consider cute, like Clink or Skrelp, for example. They're taking it way too far in battle and telling it that it's useless and ugly and that no one could ever possibly care about it. You obviously step in an attempt to save the Pokemon. The grunts are at first startled that they've been caught, but it's not long before they attack in an attempt to silence you. You take on the two grunts in battle, where they use exclusively cute Pokemon that are usually fairy type or pink in color. Think Jigglypuff, Clefairy, Marill, Swirlix, Cherubi, Hoppip, Pokemon like those. Also, all of their Pokemon are exclusively held in love balls. After defeating them, one of the grunts is extremely concerned that they're going to be found out. However, the other one consoles them, telling them that there's no need to worry. No one is going to believe this child. Then, they run off. You quickly grab the Pokemon and rush it to a Pokemon Center. The nurse expresses concern that the Pokemon was clearly hurt far past the point of what's acceptable in battle. However, when she asks you who did this, and you tell her that it was Team Pixie Dust grunts, she doesn't believe you. You try to tell other people, but it's not long before you have the disturbing realization that the grunt was right. No one believes that members of Team Pixie Dust would do something evil. Team Pixie Dust is the first Pokemon evil team that isn't immediately outed to the public as being an evil team. And before you bring up the Ether Foundation is not a true evil team. They were a legitimate charitable organization that had some corruption within it. There were several members who were truly good, like Wick, and the grunts or underlings that you battle, for the most part, are just following orders to stop an intruder on the premises. Team Pixie Dust, on the other hand, is an evil organization through and through that's just utilizing the very effective strategy of hiding their true nature from the public via charitable actions and their cutesy, not traditionally intimidating appearance. As you progress through the region, there are several more instances of Team Pixie Dust grunts executing crimes in such clever ways that no one knows it was them who did it. Except, of course, you. When you first arrive at the daycare owner asks for your help since many of the eggs that were incubating there have been stolen. You track down the culprit, a squad of Team Pixie Dust grunts, plus maybe an admin, and take them all on in battle and defeat all of them. However, when you return the eggs, the daycare owner doesn't believe you that it was Team Pixie Dust. Another time, Team Pixie Dust takes over a Pokemon medical research lab, which, as the name implies, specializes in making medicine for Pokemon. They wear disguises during the process of forcing all the employees into a locked closet, but then once all the employees are out of the way, they reveal their true appearance. You bust in and take out all of them no problem, but by the time you defeat the admin that was in charge of the whole operation, they've already sent away the research that they came in to steal. They flee the scene, and you free the employees, who of course don't believe you. Things really begin to heat up when you hear about a conference happening in the city you're in. Team Pixie Dust is hosting a presentation going over all the good things they've achieved in the past year and all the charitable action plans they have for the future. And it's actually being hosted at the Team Pixie Dust corporate headquarters. You decide to attend the presentation in an attempt to gain information. During the conference, you are finally introduced to Team Pixie Dust's leader, Shayla, whose name means from the Fairy Palace. She is the first ever female evil team leader, because, as I mentioned earlier, the Ether Foundation is not a true evil team, so therefore Lusamine doesn't count. Shayla then makes this speech where she talks about how when she was younger, she was ridiculed for her love and strong preference of only using cute Pokemon. She said that she founded Team Pixie Dust in an attempt to spread love to all Pokemon, since all Pokemon, no matter their appearance, are deserving of love. She then mentions a couple other accomplishments, including talking about how Pixie Puffs have been extremely successful and how they're extremely healthy and delicious. She also reveals that after the presentation, they're gonna have this big ceremony for this send-off of humanitarian aid equipment that's on its way to a different region. The crowd eats up the presentation, which frustrates you since you know that it's all fake. However, on your way out, you are suddenly approached by several grunts, publicly claiming that you've won some kind of prize. The crowd applauds as you are dragged off, and then you're brought into a private room where Shayla is waiting for you. Her friendly facade is gone, and she tells you that she knows that you have been the thorn in Team Pixie Dust's side all this time. She says she's not concerned about you telling people about Team Pixie Dust's true intentions, since obviously that has already been proven to be ineffective. She just wants you to stop interfering with their affairs. If you don't, things could get really bad for you, and there would be no one to help save you since you are all alone. They let you go, but you, being the strong-willed hero that you are undeterred. You make your way to the ceremonial send-off of humanitarian aid, which turns out to be a big airship takeoff. Shayla is in the middle of giving a speech when suddenly the airship engines turn on. The ship is being stolen in the middle of the presentation. You, however, know that something isn't right. So with some quick action, you're able to stow away on the airship with some Uncharted landing gear grabbing onto action, but way less intense since this is Pokemon. Once aboard the airship, you realize that this isn't humanitarian aid equipment. It's full of stolen scientific equipment and even some stolen Pokemon too. When you explore a little further, you realize that Team Pixie Dust grunts are manning the plane. The theft was staged in an attempt to deflect any suspicion or blame off of Team Pixie Dust. The airship arrives at Team Pixie Dust's true headquarters, hidden deep within the mountains. You battle your way through until you eventually reach Shayla's office, which is empty. You start looking through some papers on her desk, and it's not long before you realize that Pixie Puffs are poisoned. They don't harm the Pokemon, but they have some kind of other effect that's unclear based on what you're reading that is triggered by some remote activation. You're about to figure out what that effect is when suddenly Shayla appears in the office, having teleported in using her Jigglypuff's teleport. Shayla is amused by your persistence and decides to reveal her plan. She first reminds you about how when she was younger, she was ridiculed for her preference of using only cute Pokemon. However, she then reveals that that drove her to despise people for thinking that a Pokemon's strength is based solely on its appearance and that cute Pokemon can't be strong. She also came to despise not cute Pokemon for being a representation of that terrible idea. Team Pixie Dust was created as a way for her and her followers to get revenge on those type of people and just society as a whole, forcing them to realize that cute Pokemon can be stronger than any other Pokemon. Much stronger. She informs you that the poison within Pixie Puffs causes Pokemon to revert back to their state immediately after hatching. In other words, turning them all into babies. That's why they attacked the daycare and the medical research lab to gain research that would help them better improve the Pixie Puff formula. When activated by a remote sound frequency, it causes the Pixie Puffs within a Pokemon's body to activate, not only turning them into babies, but also causing them to cough up a mist or a powder that will affect nearby Pokemon as well. She reveals that the purpose of this is to make every single Pokemon cute, or as cute as they can make it as a baby. It also makes it so the Pokemon are too weak and young to fight back against Team Pixie Dust when they take over. She attacks and you battle her team entirely made up of cute but very powerful Pokemon. Her Jigglypuff though is not used in battle. After you defeat her, she is obviously furious, but she says that she refuses to let her life's work be ruined by some lucky kid who just happened to stumble in on Team Pixie Dust's misdeeds. She then commands her Jigglypuff to use teleport, and suddenly you're in this snowy landscape surrounded by no one. You are totally trapped in this snowy landscape. If you try to use the Fly HM replacement, cause we ain't having no HMs in this game, it tells you that the snowstorm is too intense to be navigated through the air. If you try to use teleport outside of battle, well, that doesn't work, because teleport can't be used outside of battle in Gen 7, and this game is after that. You journey through the snowy mountainous route, not encountering a single other person. That is, until you happen to stumble upon a single solitary cottage with a light on inside. You enter the cottage, and the sole inhabitants, a man and his partner Pokemon, likely a dog-like Pokemon like Growlithe or Herdier, are stunned to see you. They heal your Pokemon and give you some warmer clothes, and he tells you that he chooses to live out here alone in the wilderness because he likes being within nature and away from the chaos of cities. You explain the crisis that's currently unfolding and how you have to get back, but you don't know how. The man explains that there might be a way, but it's not guaranteed. He reveals that there is an ancient shrine connected to a legendary Pokemon in a nearby forest. If you journey there and plead your case at the shrine, the legendary Pokemon might decide to help you. You traverse to the ancient shrine, and once you're there, you plead your case. It's not long before the legendary Pokemon appears. Now, if this was a brand new region, it would probably be a brand new legendary Pokemon, but for the sake of simplicity in this story, let's just say it's Celebi. Celebi has you prove your worth in battle, and after defeating it, it transports you back to one of the region's major cities. Once you arrive, you realize that Team Pixie Dust has already executed their plan. Every Pokemon owned by a person in the entire region has been turned into babies, except of course Team Pixie Dust's and yours. Team Pixie Dust has overtaken the city by force since no one's Pokemon are strong enough to fight back against them since they're basically newborns. You fight your way through Team Pixie Dust though, and arrive at the tallest building in the city, a cell tower or radio tower or space needle or something like that. It's what they used to broadcast the Pixie Puff activation signal, but now they're using it to broadcast a message of, hey, we're in charge now, to pretty much any device with a screen and an internet connection. After battling onslaughts of grunts and admins, you finally reach the top, the roof, where Shayla is. She is baffled that you have somehow made it back, but expresses confidence that she can crush you, since after all, your team must be exhausted. You just battled your way through virtually all of Team Pixie Dust. You now take on her higher level team, but with a twist. She now has a Mega Evolution. The Mega Evolution that she has is one that doesn't currently exist, since it must be a Fairy Dark type, symbolic of Team Pixie Dust's hidden evil nature. When I originally came up with this idea off the top of my head on stream, I said that the leader would use a Mega Wigglytuff that was Fairy Dark type, but it can be whatever. After defeating her, she is angry, but then calms down, because she knows that you can't oust Team Pixie Dust by yourself. They can always heal their Pokemon, and you can't keep battling onslaught after onslaught of Pixie Dust grunts for years and years until the rest of the Pokemon in the region grow up. Suddenly though, Celebi returns, sending out a powerful energy wave that is amplified by the tower antenna. Pokemon are then shown all over the region, returning back to their normal age, clearly indicating that Celebi utilized its time powers to return them to normal. Almost immediately, several prominent trainers and police officers arrive at the top of the tower, having been able to get through it very quickly since you had already taken out pretty much all of Team Pixie Dust. They arrest Shayla, and as she's being taken away, she turns to you and asks, "How? How were you able to defeat Team Pixie Dust all alone?" You tell her that you weren't alone. You had the help of Pokemon, who, no matter their appearance, are worthy of love. So there we have it. That's the story of my Pokemon Evil team, Team Pixie Dust. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you want to watch some more of my Pokemon content, I recommend this video here. Alright, that's all I have for now, so till next time, Poke fans, gotta catch them all!